All right, and welcome to another early morning edition of Crazy Talk. Broadcasting here from Dayton, Ohio. If Ohio had a Mordor, it would be Cleveland. But Dayton would definitely give Cleveland a run for its money in that casting. Our roads are so bad, it's like driving on the surface of the moon. It's all good. Anyway, speaking of the moon, did you know that a while back, well, not so far back, a meteor or a piece of space junk hit the moon, and scientists detected that the moon rang like a giant bell or gong. And there's a lot of people that believe that the moon itself is actually hollow. And this is going to go like crazy moon thought here. There are T words that you cannot use online anymore, so we'll call it crazy moon thought instead of the thing that follows after scientific when you're trying to do research. Anyway, so they believe that the moon is hollow, and if you look for videos or pictures, there are people that have actually recorded images of objects protruding off of the surface of the moon. They look like towers. Some of them look like smokestacks. Just really, really unique images taken in fairly high definition from the surface of the moon. And, to me, it's really interesting to study because there are theories that the moon itself is hollow and is not terrestrial in nature, so they don't know where the moon came from. It does serve a very unique purpose in that it helps cleanse our oceans by controlling the tide and moving the air, and there's a lot of really beneficial things that happen here on Earth because of the moon. But it's believed by one group of people that the moon itself might be an observation deck or a station of sorts that is used for observations of the goings-on here on Earth. Movies like Star Wars, where they've got the giant Death Star. That's no moon, it's a space station. Well, what if our moon really in itself is also a space station? There is, and I get it, I'm not saying that we didn't go to the moon. I'm saying that there's some really interesting photography that was taking place. If you actually look at the things that the astronauts sent back or brought back with them from their time on the moon, some of the photographs are really quite interesting. And when you bring up the contrast of some of those images, there are these interesting structures in the background that kind of are odd in nature. And I'm not saying that they're, some people are like, well, it looks like a giant space gun, smokestacks, weird spires and towers. I'm not saying that that's exactly what it is. I'm just saying it's a really interesting to look at. I don't know. I've seen some weird things. I, for one, definitely am a follower in the stream of UFOs, having seen several myself. The earliest memory I have, the very first time I ever saw anything that I would categorize as a UFO, I was a a child. I would say I was probably 8 years old, and I was sitting outside of one of our local malls. My dad had to run in and do something in a store. And so my mom and I were sitting out in the car with my brothers, and way out in the distance, there were these 3 dots that just slowly looked like they were moving towards us. Now, that particular mall is actually right next to a small airstrip. We have an international airport close by. We have an experimental military Air Force base nearby. So, seeing aircraft, unusual aircraft, is not uncommon in this area. So at first I didn't think anything of it, but as we said, these objects continued to move closer, and I was like, Mom, are those UFOs? They just look like 3 white spheres silently moving through the air. They never broke pattern. They stayed in this, it's like an upside down triangle, just moving silently, slowly through the sky. And it was odd. I've not seen anything quite like that before, or since. And my mom, she was like, okay, you need to run into the mall, get your dad. So I ran in. I was like, Dad, oh my gosh, Dad, there's these things flying in the sky. By the time we got out there, I honestly, as a kid, thought initially they were balloons because they were holding that pattern. I thought they were tied together, and that was just kind of, how you let go a bunch of balloons, and there you have it. But as they moved over top of us, it was very clear that these white spheres were truly just independently moving white balls. They were just the weirdest thing. Again, moving silently, they maintain their course, and they maintain their speed. Never affected by wind or anything like that. I can't explain what I saw. I just know it was weird. And ever since that day, I have been a firm believer in UFOs, and love to read up and study anything pertaining to the subject of the moon or UFOs, because I believe that there is a lot more out there going on than what we are privy to. And being 2020, when the Pentagon was like, actually, we're going to go ahead and confirm it, there are UFOs, we are keeping an eye on them, that whole thing, it was like a major article. Had it not been 2020, we would still be talking about that article. But because it was 2020, the actual United States government can come out and say, yes, there are UFOs, yes, we are studying them, yes, it is a continued observation, and we do have some concerns about the unearthly beings that may be controlling them, and the news story just falls flat. So, welcome to 2020. Who knows what the hell is going on? We've got aliens confirmed, or at least UFOs confirmed, and nothing. Yeah, good times. All right, well, that will do it for this early morning edition. I'm going to say it's a way too early morning edition. Until next time, stay crazy.